Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks for watching that wax removal video today. Oh, this poor patient. We had this lovely lady who came through today. I think this is one of my favourite wax removals. Not because it's particularly grand, but just because this poor patient's story. They came through to clinic today. They tried to get an appointment with us or back last year, but unfortunately we were just so busy and they couldn't wait, bless them. So they actually went to see two other audiologists to get this removed. And they had such a torrid time, love them. They said it had really hurt. The lady said she was physically upset when she'd been through it. So it was such an awful story. And she'd come through to see us today, just basically as a last resort to see if we could get this wax out and for it to be tolerable for us. So when I've got a patient like that who is extremely nervous because they've had such a horrid time, I'm always a little bit cautious when we first go in. I try and talk my patients through what I'm doing so they know exactly what's going on in their ears at all time. Now we've got this really sticky wax. Now if you looked at Wednesday's video, you'd know we had a similar kind of consistency there. But what we would normally do here is we'd normally go in with a Jobson horn or at the very least a much wider tube. But this patient's got quite a narrow little ear canal, which is what I think was causing a lot of the problems beforehand with the other practitioners. So what I've opted to do here is to start off using the fine end. Now I'm doing that for two reasons. The first is it's a little bit less noisy in the ear because it's only coming through, the ear is getting sucked through a much smaller aperture. Obviously the ear canal's a lot smaller, so it gives me a little bit more maneuverability, so I'm less likely to touch the canal walls, which if you watch the channel a lot, you'll know it can be quite uncomfortable for patients. But my plan here is to try and loosen this plug first, just to get it moving a little bit. And then when the patient's a little bit more acclimatized to the sound and the sensation, to go in with maybe the standard size ulnar tube here. So there's a lot of reassurance going on for this particular patient. I really did feel for them, bless them. They'd had such a horrid time. And you can tell when your patient's nervous, they kind of grip the chair quite a bit. And you can actually see their facial expressions, obviously, while we're doing it as well. But just tried to reassure her as best I could that it was going to be okay. We could get this out for her. So you can see I've loosened it a little bit now. So we're going in now. Now the patient's a little bit more acclimatized to the sound and the sensation. Now we're going in with a standard size ulnar tube here. The plan here is to try and hold that piece of wax that we've just been working on in one big chunk there and try and bring the whole thing out in one piece if we can. So you can see here, I'm trying to maintain suction on that piece. I don't want to let too much of it get sucked inside the machine because that can make pop-in sounds, which can sometimes be quite quick and sometimes can be quite loud. And the last thing I wanted was to make this patient any more nervous than they already were. So you can see I'm holding on to this now. At this point here, I'd be explaining to the patient that we've got it to the outer part of the ear canal, but they're probably going to feel a little bit blocked up because it's just blocking that outer section, but it's coming away really well. So we're just a little bit more wiggling now. There we go, just gentle, no turbo wiggling on a nervous patient. It's always just standard wiggling going on here. There we go, out that comes. There we are. And if we take a look behind that, we can see the eardrum really clearly. Now there is this section at the base of the canal here. Now, obviously that is really close to the canal wall, so I'm being ultra cautious here. And I'm just gonna get the majority of this away. We don't really wanna be scraping along the canal wall because ideally I want this patient to have a good experience and for them to come back and get this done more regularly because they obviously do need to have it done regularly. So for me it's all about getting the patient in a good place so that they are more likely to come back and see us again. But she was such a trooper, bless her, and oh my goodness, she was just so nervous, so nervous. There we are, just lifting this base section here. You can see a little bit of dead skin there. A little bit more of that sticky wax. Let's see if we can peel that away. There we go. Lovely. And there's the eardrum looking nice and healthy there. So patient's so relieved that we could get that out on one side. Unfortunately, the other side needed doing as well. So we're going to do the same thing now on this side. But patient a little bit more confident going into the second ear, just because obviously they've experienced what we're going to do on the other side. Very sticky on this side as well. You can see I'm using the same technique here, just lifting from the base of the canal, just to loosen this up a little bit. The reason I haven't gone in with a Jobson horn, sorry, I don't think I mentioned that for the last one, is when you're using a Jobson horn, obviously you've got to put downward pressure, which the patient can feel. It's not always uncomfortable. Most of the time it's just like a downward pressure and a moving across the canal. But because this particular patient had such bad experiences before, I decided to stick with the suction because that's what they've been used to, and it's usually easier if you're just using one tool. The patient gets used to that sensation rather than switching tools where the sensation would be slightly different. So really loosen that section now. Let's just wiggle. There we go. You can really see that starting to come away now. There we are. So that's opened the top of the ear canal up now. So at this point, I would normally be saying to my patient that, you know, things are going to sound a lot louder in there. We've opened the gap up. We can start to see part of the eardrum now, just to reassure them that why this change in sensation and sound has happened. We're just getting a grip on this bottom section. There we go. You can see I'm kind of holding the suction on just to lift and then lift the whole thing up. At this point, we'll be explaining to the patient they are going to feel a little bit blocked up just for a few seconds until we get the plug out. There we go, out that comes. Lovely. And let's take a look behind that now. There we are, looking lovely and healthy. Oh my goodness, this patient was so... It looks really rubbish on there, but it was one of my best ones. It was such a lovely feeling to have actually helped this lady when she'd been struggling for so long. So we got 1/2 inch, just over, well, between a centimetre and a half there, thereabouts. Yeah, patient's so much happier to have actually got it done. And she did promise me she would come back again. So we're going to see her again in the near future, just to keep an eye on things, make sure it doesn't build up too quickly. But yeah, really lovely one to do. That's a nice one to end a Friday on, that one. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. I hope we didn't waffle too much through it. But as always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another. And I shall see you again on Monday. All the best, guys. Bye.